Welcome to the 34th anniversary of the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future and 29th anniversary of the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Illustrators of the Future. For our thousands of internet viewers worldwide, we have gathered this evening at the historic MacArthur in Los Angeles, California. Please welcome illusionists from America's Got Talent, Kickoff on True TV, Penn and Teller Fool Us, and current stars of the hit show this summer, Masters of Illusion on the CW, Joel Myers and Spidey.
The artist has an enormous role in the enhancement of today's and the creation of tomorrow's reality. L. Ron Hubbard. It is with this in mind that philosopher and best-selling author L. Ron Hubbard created the Writers of the Future contest, followed by the companion Illustrators of the Future contest. Both have since grown into the most prestigious contests of their kind, based on merit alone. Each year holds its own magic, its own wonder, its own discoveries, beginning in 1984. Renowned author and critic Algis Budrys led the original Writers of the Future contest, along with an all-star cast of best-selling authors to act as judges, such masters as Dr. Gregory Benford, Robert Silverberg, Theodore Sturgeon, Jack Williamson, and Roger Zelazny. In 1985, the first awards ceremony took place at Chasen's Restaurant in Beverly Hills for new and now successful authors such as Leonard Carpenter, Karen Joy Fowler, Nina Kariki Hoffman, Dean Wesley Smith, and David Zindel. In 1987, the awards ceremony was held at the top of the World Trade Center, where it attracted such illustrious guests as author Isaac Asimov and actor Mark Hamill. Orson Scott Card and Tim Powers helped teach the literary boot camp that year. Dave Wolverton, also known under the pen name David Farland, won the Gold Award and has since published more than 50 novels. In 1988, the Illustrators of the Future contest began, presided over by another set of highly esteemed artists, all led by Frank Kelly Freas. In 1991, Ukrainian Sergei Poyarkov won the Illustrator Grand Prize and has since exhibited his works in numerous galleries around the world. 1992 saw winners tour the National Archives and the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, providing fodder for future stories. The Illustrators contest discovered extraordinary artists Omar Ryan and Sean Tan, both of whom have gone on to create award-winning children's books, with Sean also garnering an Academy Award. In 1993, outstanding writers such as Eric Flint, Sean Williams, and Elizabeth Wein received well-earned awards, and now all three are New York Times best-selling authors. Writer Scott Nicholson received the Gold Award in 1999. He has since penned 30 thrillers, 60 short stories, 3 comic series, and 4 screenplays. 2002 was marked by future megastars Nnedi Okorafor, who is now an international award-winning novelist of African-based sci-fi and fantasy, and Patrick Rothfuss, whose 3 novels hit the New York Times bestseller list, selling more than 10 million copies worldwide. In 2006, Diana Rowland was discovered, and she's since had 14 published novels. 2012 writer-winner William Ledbetter won a Nebula Award, and 2014 Illustrator winner Sarah Webb won a Hugo Award. So it goes, year after year, garnering critical acclaim such as Hot New Talent, Locus Magazine, a first-rate collection of stories and illustrations, Book List, always a glimpse of tomorrow's stars, Publishers Weekly. All told, our 334 past Illustrator winners have produced tens of thousands of illustrations, comic books, art books, children's books, and album covers, not to mention video games, commercials, TV series, live action, and animated films graced with their work, and the millions of art prints they have in circulation. Our 484 writer winners have published over 5,600 novels and short stories, 32 New York Times bestsellers, and their works have sold over 60 million copies. Finally, our illustrator and writer winners have gone on to take every significant award in the science fiction and fantasy universe. The Hugo, Nebula, World Fantasy, National Book Award, Philip K. Dick, Astrid Lindgren Memorial Award, Emmy, and even the Oscar grace our roster of winners. In the foreword to the first anthology, Mr. Hubbard wrote, "A culture is as rich and as capable of surviving as it has imaginative artists. The artist is looked upon to start things. The artist injects the spirit of life into a culture. That vision has been and is being fulfilled into the future."
Please welcome our Mistress of Ceremonies, Executive Director of Author Services, representing the literary works of L. Ron Hubbard, Ms. Gunhild Jacobs.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and welcome to our 34th year of discovering and mentoring new, creative science fiction and fantasy writers and artists. First of all, congratulations to all the amazing winners who are all with us here at the MacArthur, a place for and about magic. Tonight we acknowledge and celebrate all of you and your artistic talents, along with diversity and creativity in the arts. Diversity because these are contests where winners are chosen based on merit alone since the day they were created. Creativity as it is an attribute native to every human being. For combined, art, creativity, and imagination are the glue that keeps our fragile cultural fabric from tearing. And after 34 years of discovering and nurturing over 700 new talent in the fields of writing and art, I think we can safely affirm that creativity is contagious. Pass it on. In addition to the awards for the winners, we are honored to be able to bestow the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award to Larry Elmore, the first professional illustrator of the groundbreaking original role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons. We will also hear from Ruben Padilla, who is a mentor, a magician, and the co-founder of Learning is Magic. I'm delighted to welcome special guests who will be participating in tonight's events. Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson. Actor Sean Cameron Michael, recently from Blood Drive, Black Sails, and The Mummy. Actress Marisol Nichols, who is on CW's Riverdale. Actress Jay Pettyjohn from School of Rock. Actress Catherine Bell from The Good Witch. And actress Lee Purcell, two-time Primetime Emmy nominee. Finally, let me introduce you to the backbone of the contest, our judges. These are professionals who freely dedicate their time and talent to pay it forward. Creative souls who, based on their hard-earned knowledge, concluded that these 24 winners may just be your next favorite writer and artist. The judges, past and present, for the Writers of the Future are Kevin J. Anderson, Dr. Doug Beeson, Dr. Gregory Benford, Aldous Budrys, Orson Scott Card, Hal Clement, David Farland, Eric Flint, Brian Herbert, Frank Herbert, Nina Kiriki Hoffman, Dr. Yodi Kondo, Nancy Kress, Anne McCaffrey, Todd McCaffrey, Rebecca Mesta, C.L. Moore, Larry Niven, Andrew Norton, Jody Lynn Nye, Nettie Okorafor, Frederick Pohl, Dr. Jerry Purnell, Tim Powers, Mike Resnick, Christine Catherine Rush, Brandon Sanderson, Dr. Robert J. Sawyer, Charles Sheffield, Robert Silverberg, Dean Wesley Smith, Theodore Sturgeon, Katie Wentworth, Dr. Sean Williams, Jack Williamson, and Roger Selasny. the judges for the Illustrators of the Future contest, past and present, are Cirillo, Ed Cartier, Robert Castillo, Echo Chernick, Lazarus Chernick, Vincent DeFate, Leo and Diane Dillon, Dave Dorman, Bob Eggleton, Will Eisner, Larry Elmore, Frank Facetta, Frank Kelly Fries, Laura Fries Baraja, Jack Kirby, Val Lakey Lindan, Paul Lear, Ron Lindan, Stefan Martiniere, Gary Meyer, Judith Miller, Mobius, Cliff Nielsen, Mike Perkins, Sergei Poyakov, Rob Pryor, Sean Tan, H.R. Van Dongen, and Stephen Ewell. And we are pleased to welcome a number of this prestigious group who are here with us tonight. One in particular who is celebrating his third year as a judge in our family and his first time at this event. He is an acknowledged master of fantasy and the prolific creator of the Kashmir Universe stories. We, your humble shards, welcome you, Brandon Sanderson. And now, will all the incredibly talented judges who are here also please stand to be acknowledged? As is traditional, let's give you an overview of the past year. You'll be proud to know that we again had the highest entries in the history of the contest, including entries from 2 new countries, Burundi, and even in these turbulent times, the Palestinian territory. But sadly, I must report we still do not have any sign of aspiring writers or illustrators from Antarctica. But they have not been left out in the cold. You will also be happy to hear that we, for the first time ever, have more female winners in the writing category than males. This past year, we counted over 100 novels published by former winners and too many novellas and short stories to track. And from the over 300 winning illustrators, they have contributed hundreds of book covers, illustrations, fine art, graphic novels, comics, video games, websites, movies, shows, and more. As for awards, no less than 24 past winners were finalists or nominated for major prizes such as the World Fantasy Award, the Washington Science Fiction Award, the Canadian Sunburst Award, the Hugo Award, the Nebula Award, the Locus Award, the Ditmar Award, the Theodore Sturgeon Memorial Award, the Colorado Independent Publishers Book Award, the James Tiptree Literary Award, the Compton Crook Award, the Analog Award, and the Aurealis Award. And as for wins and special accomplishments, the Morningstar Award for Best Fantasy Debut went to Megan O'Keefe for her novel, Steal the Sky. The Locus Award went to Ken Liu, 2003 winner for Best Collection with The Paper Menagerie and Other Stories. Contest judge and prior contestant Brandon Sanderson hit the #1 spot on the New York Times bestseller list with a 3rd volume, Oathbringer, in the Stormlight Archive fantasy series. Down Under, 3 past winners garnered the Aurealis Award. Nick T. Chan for Best Novella with his story Salto Mortal, Samantha Murray for Best Sci-Fi Short Story with Of Sight, Of Mind, Of Heart, and T.R. Napper for Best Horror Story with Flame Trees. As a note, he wrote this story during our annual workshop. The Australian Ditmar Award went to Cat Sparks for Best Short Story with No Fat Chicks, which we assume is a story about poultry. William Ledbetter of Volume 28 won the Nebula Award for Best Novelette with The Long Fall Up. Contest judge and previous contestant Robert J. Sawyer won Canada's Aurora Award for Best Novel with Quantum Night. He also won the Aurora Award for Best Novel of the Decade with The Neanderthal Parallax. James Allen Gardner won James Allen Gardner won the Asimov's Readers' Poll for his short story, The Mutants Men Don't See. Vincent DeFate, Illustrator Contest Judge, won the Analog Readers' Poll in the Cover Art category. Frank Wu, Year 2000 Illustrator winner, won the Analog Readers' Poll in the Short Story category for In the Absence of Instructions to the Contrary. Shauna O'Meara, 2014 Australian Writer Contest winner, also took her talents to another level and won the Ditmar Award for Best Artwork for her illustration in Lackington's 12. And while writing a new epic fantasy trilogy, Mike Cole of Volume 20 became a reality TV star on the CBS show Hunted. And don't worry, we found him first. Past Illustrators of the Future judge Jack Kirby was inducted into the Science Fiction Hall of Fame. Finally, 3 of our 2002 winners have gone on to create many better tomorrows. David D. Levine, who just won the Andrew Norton Award for Young Adult Novel in Science Fiction and Fantasy with Arabella of Mars. Nnedi Okorafor, whose award-winning Who Fears Death novel has been optioned for a TV adaptation with George R.R. Martin as executive producer, and Patrick Rothfuss, whose Kingkiller Chronicle books are being turned into a TV series produced by Hamilton's Lin-Manuel Miranda and then into a major film. Writers of the Future Volume 33 was released to critical success, eliciting praise from Library Journal, Publishers Weekly, and the Omni magazine. Just as importantly, Volume 33 hit #1 on the science fiction bestseller list for Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and was in the top 10 on 69 other bestseller lists. But who's counting? And with that, let's give a hand to our past winners and once again to our present judges. Over the years, we have received hundreds of civic and community proclamations and letters of recognition. This year was especially significant in that both the City of Los Angeles and the California State Senate bestowed proclamations and certificates of recognition to the contest, as well as each of the winners congratulating them on their achievements. The certificate of recognition to the contest from the State of California Senate reads, "On behalf of the California State Senate, it is my pleasure to recognize the 34th Annual Writers and Illustrators of the Future Awards. I commend L. Ron Hubbard for his commitment and dedication. Best wishes and continued success." L. Ron Hubbard was, as he himself, first and foremost, a writer with a lifelong vision and passion for the arts. As a young man, he became a best-selling author with his stories gracing the covers of the hottest popular fiction magazines of the 1930s and 40s. Ron published nearly 250 works of fiction in all the popular genres of his day, including mystery, adventure, thriller, western, romance, horror, science fiction, and fantasy. He originally entered the field of speculative fiction in 1938, enlisted by publisher Street and Smith to transform the genre with real characterization, which would broaden Astounding's fan base. And ultimately, he helped to usher in science fiction golden age with such genre-launching stories as Final Blackout, Fear, and To the Stars. Having reached the top as a writer himself, he also wanted to guide new writers and help them overcome obstacles they were likely to face, both in producing good work and in getting it produced. He shared his experience as an author with creative writing students at Harvard and George Washington universities. As president of the New York chapter of the American Fiction Guild, he made it easier for writers to join the guild. Determined to help aspiring writers in any way he could, he penned a series of how-to articles that were published in magazines throughout the 1930s and 40s. And after a lifelong tradition of helping writers, it was upon his return to the field of speculative fiction with Battlefield Earth and Mission Earth in the early 80s, he established the Writers of the Future contest with these words: "The competition is very keen and even dagger sharp. It is with this in mind that I initiated a means for new and budding writers to have a chance for their creative efforts to be seen and acknowledged." In that same spirit, and expressly for artists who would give the written word visual form, the Illustrators of the Future contest was added. And in the field of the arts, there is room for anyone who exhibits exceptional skill in any activity, including the art of living. And that, very simply, goes like this, as described by L. Ron Hubbard in his own voice to a group of students.
We might have some kind of a shadow or something of the sort here that we get into in the field of aesthetics. And then we get into this big question, which isn't a question of logic, but a question of experience. Beauty. What is beauty? Well, beauty is something you experience. Well, what is beautiful? Anytime the fellow asks that, you know you're talking to a critic. An evaluation on the level of aesthetics is not possible. Are we trying to answer what is beauty? No, we're not. Because I wouldn't tell you what was beautiful, and I hope you wouldn't try to tell me what was beautiful. I hope you might instead tell me, if you were talking to me about it, tell me an experience that you had which you thought was beautiful. All right, that's fine. Don't hold a gun on me if I don't think so too. You see, that's just a matter of viewpoint. Beauty has something to do with beingness then, doesn't it? It's way up there, doesn't have much else to do. But do you know at the same time that the fellow says, I'm no artist. He said, I'm not an artist. He means by that, I don't paint, I don't write, I don't compose music. What is he doing that might throw this into question? He might be living a very beautiful life, because the biggest and widest canvas that you could paint would be the canvas of a life. A man could actually achieve the level of being a professionally beautiful liver. He could. There are some people you are glad to know simply because they seem to lead a beautiful life. It's interesting, isn't it? So people say we have to go hungering after art through painting, writing, and so forth. And what are these people doing? They're painting about, composing about life. You're sitting there with this enormous canvas and all the raw materials to put together into what is actually a piece of art. How would you combine these things to make them interesting? And that would be art. For you. But art, again, is not something that you would describe or even get that didactic on. But you could do that. You're overlooking, then, the primary field of art, which would be to live beautifully.
It is with this uplifting message that we decided to release and give you a preview of the great stories and art from this year's winners before we move on to the awards ceremony. So, to release L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 34, please welcome the President of Galaxy Press, Mr. John Goodwin.
Thank you. Each year, the contest winners are showcased in an original anthology that is widely used in high school and college writing programs. It is the benchmark that budding authors and artists use to measure just how good they need to be. And it is now my honor and privilege to officially release L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future, Volume 34.
Writers of the Future is science fiction and fantasy, past, present, and future.
We're looking for people who've got a fresh new way of keeping this genre alive of science fiction and fantasy.
I found a range of different styles, different types, and a tremendously interesting approach.
Craft-wise and writing-wise and imagination, they are all wonderful stories.
They're stories that are the beginning of something. You know, you'll read them and then years later you'll be like, oh, the first time I saw that was in a Writers of the Future anthology.
And with new writers, there's kind of an implicit promise that they're going to be new voices.
And this gives a voice to anyone in the world. Anyone.
This contest is stimulating the creativity in general for many young people.
And these are the people who are going to be creating trends not many years into the future.
When you read the book, you are getting the best stories by the best new writers.
The cover art for the annual anthology is created by Illustrators of the Future judge and world-renowned artist Cirello. His art inspired a story written by Jody Lynn Nye entitled Illusion, included in the anthology. We also included 2 bonus stories, Brandon Sanderson's The Lesson and The Death Flyer, a dark fantasy by L. Ron Hubbard. The anthology, of course, also contains all the latest prize-winning stories and illustrations. These are all beautifully presented in a large trade paperback format, displaying the gorgeous artwork in full color up front. It is edited by David Farland, coordinating judge for the contest and himself a past grand prize winner. In keeping true to the pay it forward philosophy of the contests and fulfilling a demand from up-and-coming creative artists for educational tips, we also included insightful essays on the craft of writing and illustration, such as Illustrators of the Future by coordinating judge Echo Chernick, Passion and Profession by contest judge and cover artist for this year's anthology, Cirello, Theme by contest judge Orson Scott Card. Paying It Forward by the late Jerry Purnell. And Suspense by L. Ron Hubbard. As for the rich content by the winners, imagine stories of an ancient myth able to provide the key to curing a disease that threatens all of humanity, or how easy it is to make sales sending images of despair into the hearts of your clients. Or a breathtakingly beautiful ode to transformation with Filipino folklore. And in testament to the quality of the stories and the art, we receive a starred review from the premier magazine for the publishing industry, Publishers Weekly. It stated that this collection features expertly crafted and edited stories and art running the gamut from humorous to bone-chilling. In addition to the annual anthology, I'm also proud to announce a simultaneous release of an audiobook version of the entire anthology. If you want to read something different, something original, something fresh, and if you want to support these terrific new writers and artists, well, get your own copies tonight, and then congratulate the winners as you get their soon-to-be famous autographs. And for those of you watching live, the book is releasing this week in bookstores across the country and wherever books are sold. The future is now. Let the adventures begin. Thank you.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Tim Powers and Ms. Nancy Cartwright.
Well, each quarter, we judges select 3 winning writers and 3 winning illustrators, which adds up to 24 in all, and they are among us tonight. David Farland is the first reader of the Writers' Contest, and he goes through thousands of manuscripts every quarter. Nobody knows how many thousands, and I don't envy him that. But he does get to be the first to see these stories that are soon going to be seen by millions of people. He selects the honorable mentions, the silver honorable mentions, the semifinalists, and the finalists. And when he's done all that, the rest of us judges read the contest finalists. And from our judging comes the top 3.
For the Illustrator Contest, Echo Chernick has the task of going through all the artist entries. She narrows those down to the finalists, which are judged by the Illustrators Judges Panel. Both contests are judged anonymously, so the judges have no idea who these entries are from, and they get to discover new talent without any bias.
And as we present the awards, we'll give you a little taste of each story and the art that goes with it in this 34th volume. We begin our trip through the 34th volume of Writers of the Future with a tongue-in-cheek look at the inner thoughts of retail workers. The story is entitled The Howler on the Sales Floor, and the author is Jonathan Fick, who is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And the illustrator of this humorous story is Sydney Lugo. She was born in Caracas, Venezuela, and is now a resident of Boston. Please welcome them both.
Wow. So, as you guys have all are painfully aware, this is a heck of an event. It's incredibly complicated and has taken an unbelievable amount of effort to pull together. And it didn't happen on its own. It happened because of the tireless efforts of the people at ASI, and we should all be incredibly grateful for that. But also, they weren't the only people that made this week unforgettable. The judges were incredibly gracious and made this a once-in-a-lifetime event. I cannot thank you guys enough. To my wife, you're the most wonderful person I know. To the rest of my family, you're pretty great too. Sydney, I can't thank you enough. You made a dream come true for me that I didn't know that I had. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And lastly, but not least, the competitors. Everybody else that you're going to hear from tonight, and everybody else that hasn't won yet and is still submitting. The only reason this has any value at all is because of the quality and the depth and breadth of quality that submits. Thank you guys for continuing to push us, and thank you everybody for coming out and giving me this ostentatious trophy. Thank you.
I'm very honored to be here. This is a great experience. I want to thank Author Services and the judges and Jonathan too. I'm very honored to God to illustrate such an amazing, amazing story. I want to thank my parents, my family, my friends, a todos los venezolanos que se encuentran allá afuera. No se rindan jamás. And to every artist out there, don't give up. The world is out there waiting for your art and your vision. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Jody Lynn Nye and Ms. Catherine Bell.
This is my second year participating in this marvelous event. I'm proud to be a part of the wonderful workshop that took place over the prior several days. The winners get a grounding that isn't available at any other contest that I know of. Not only are the instructors getting to read their work all the way through, but they're going to try to help the contestants and winners to make it the very best that it can be, to ease them forward into professional publication. And with that, I'm happy to introduce you to the next winner, Vida Cruz. She's an author from the Philippines. She lives in a small woodsy village in Manila. Her story, Odd and Ugly, is a beautiful ode to transformation, which stirs the imagination with Filipino folklore.
The illustrator winner who created the enchanting piece for Odd and Ugly is Reina Rochin. Reina, yes. Reina is an illustrator attending the Savannah College of Art and Design. Please congratulate and welcome them both.
Oh my gosh. So here's my long litany of thank yous. My parents for doing their best with me, my sister who took care of me when I couldn't take care of myself, my best friend who never fails to remind me that I am mighty, my boyfriend for reading every single story I've written in the last 8 years, and my beta readers for making Odd and Ugly that much stronger. Raina for illustrating it so beautifully, the judges for choosing my story in the first place, and Author Services and the Writers of the Future contest for flying me here and validating me all week. And for all the aspiring writers out there, don't self-reject. Maraming salamat po.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to thank Author Services and L. Ron Hubbard for allowing this wonderful event to happen in the first place. I've had an amazing week with all the other winners and the judges. I'd, of course, like to thank Vita. She created a story that made it incredibly enjoyable and easy for me to make a painting for, and she is extremely talented, and I'm happy to also call her a friend. Lastly, I'd like to thank my mom. I hear lots of horror stories about families not supporting their children pursuing the arts, especially the visual arts, and she has been nothing but absolutely supportive from day one with whatever I've wanted to do. In every capacity, she's helped me as much as she can, so I wouldn't be here today without her.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Doug Beeson and Illustrators of the Future Judge Laura Fries-Baraha.
Good evening. Darcy Stone is the author of Mara's Shadow. We think it's apropos that she won this contest with a story where contagion threatens all of humanity, as winning seems to be contagious in the Stone family. Her husband is Eric James Stone, a contest winner from Volume 21.
In the words of the great illustrator and my late husband, Frank Kelly Fries, L. Ron Hubbard sensed what Kelly defined as a creative synergy between the written word and the art that illustrates it. Ron Hubbard knew that each standing alone, while superb in its own right, is the poorer for the want of the other, for together they create a whole, greater than the sum of its parts. This is very true for illustrator of Mara's Shadow, Quentin Gleam. Quentin is attending the Columbus College of Art and Design in pursuit of his master's degree.
Please welcome them both.
If you read the first draft of my story, you would be shocked that I'm a winner tonight because it was terrible. And I'm not just saying that to be modest, it was really bad. So I want to start by thanking every individual that took the time to read my story and give me their feedback. It was because of your insights that I am here at this podium tonight. I also want to thank my science teachers for inspiring me to become a science teacher myself. And I want to encourage all the women listening tonight to pursue your own dreams. Never limit yourself because of other people's expectations. I want to acknowledge my family and the great support they've been to me. I always know that win or lose, they're going to be there for me. I'm grateful to my husband for sharing his hobby with me and for introducing me to the world of writing. And finally, I want to thank the generosity of L. Ron Hubbard for setting up this great experience. They really have made all of us amateurs feel like celebrities this week. I don't think that another publisher is ever going to be this excited about a story I write, ever again. but if it does happen, it will be because of the support of organizations like Writers of the Future and because of the great fans and readers like you. So, thank you.
Oh, wow. I just wanted to quickly thank my friends and family for always helping me and supporting me, as well as the wonderful people at Author Services for making this such a great week. So.
And now to present the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award, please welcome our contest director, Joni Labaki.
The L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award is bestowed to individuals for their outstanding contributions to the fields of writing and art. It has been presented in the past ceremonies to luminaries and masters such as Jack Williamson, Frederick Pohl, Algis Budrys, Frank Frazetta, Anne McCaffrey, Frank Kelly Freese, Robert Silverberg, Larry Niven, Jerry Purnell, Charles Brown, Gregory Benford, Orson Scott Card, Tom Doherty, and Mike Resnick. And this year's special recipient has created art to illuminate the world of fantasy and science fiction for over 40 years. He has a Bachelor of Fine Arts, but his first job as an illustrator was at Fort Knox. So if you find his autograph on any of the bills in your wallet, hold on to it. It'll be worth a lot more after tonight. After that came his employment with TSR, the publisher that produced the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. He was part of establishing still pertinent standards for art in the field of role-playing games. He has since gone on to create covers and illustrations for hundreds of games, books, including Dragonlance book series, working with practically every publisher of speculative fiction, comics, and games. Please welcome this year's recipient of the L. Ron Hubbard Lifetime Achievement Award, Illustrators of the Future Judge, Larry Elmore.
I want to thank everyone. I can't believe this. I'm not the type of person that went out for a lot of awards trying to win. I had a hard enough time painting and drawing. So I think first I'd like to thank L. Ron Hubbard for inspiring me when I read the book Battlefield Earth early in my career. And after that, I started drawing spaceships, weapons, and equipment for the next few years, along with monsters and dragons. I also want especially to thank him for starting this unique contest. It is a huge stepping stone for advancing the careers of all the winners. And remember, it has very few rules. Anyone can enter, any age, race, religion, or country. It's wide open. Next. Next, I want to thank my tolerant wife of 47 years for putting up with me. She has been my rock and my anchor because I spend most of my time in my messy studio drifting off into imaginary worlds and searching for another scene to paint. It's a little hectic. Without her, I wouldn't be here, that's for sure. I also want to thank TSR, the company that brought us the game Dungeons & Dragons. The game gave me my biggest break ever. They gave me by letting me paint the covers for many of their leading products basically without any art direction. So that was a lot of fun. Those games and books influenced a new generation, taught them to use their imagination, not only in games, but apply that imagination to new and diverse products that are still being introduced to us today. And finally, I'd like to thank my family and my wonderful parents. I started drawing and got hooked on it around the age of 3. We lived in rural Kentucky, rural central Kentucky, and at that time, around 1950, most homes didn't have electricity or indoor plumbing. We were in that category. I spent many nights learning to draw on the kitchen table under a kerosene lamp, which would light up that old brown grocery bag paper. You know, my mom could cut it where it lay perfectly flat, so that was my paper. It seemed I couldn't stop drawing, and eventually it became a bit easier for me. But painting, I'm still learning to paint. You know, it's a lifelong thing. After receiving a BFA degree in art and a couple years in the Army, I started my art career, and I've been drawing and painting ever since. That's all I do. With a lot of hard work and perseverance, my art has taken me almost to every state in the United States and many countries around the world. It has been a wonderful journey. If I can do this with all odds against me, then you have much greater odds of winning this contest, which will really kick off your creative career. So go online and enter, okay? Thank you.
Please welcome Writers of the Future judges Rebecca Mesta and Kevin J. Anderson.
First off, I'd just like to say that we counted, and this is my 25th year of participating and presenting in these awards. And I think it's the first time that they've ever let me present an award with my wife. Now, the attendees of the Writers of the Future workshop don't just learn how to write a story or how to research and build a character. They learn how to interact with other writers. They learn objective insights into how their careers might work, how the publishing world works, how book selling works, and how to promote themselves. They get a full-on background in the industry that will take you years and years to figure out on your own, just by coincidence, or by discovering things, or by making mistakes and trying to fix them. This gives people sort of a jump start into getting their careers rolling and on the right track.
It's one of my favorite things every year to come to Writers of the Future because there's such a supportive atmosphere. And everyone here is about helping everyone else succeed, especially the new students, the winners of the contest. And we try to give them as great an experience as we possibly can because there's nowhere else you can get something like this. And we have fun ourselves. We get to share what's going on in our industry and encourage each other. It all becomes a big community.
Our next... They're clapping about the fun part, right?
Yes.
Okay. Our next writer winner is Eric Bundy from a magical forest in North Carolina. Eric is the author of Turnabout. Gins are famous for twisting the words, but two can play at that game.
The illustrator of Turnabout is Adar Darnov. Adar currently attends the Academy of Art University in San Francisco in pursuit of his master's degree.
Please welcome them both.
Well, I believe I'm the second oldest writer to ever win in this contest. So hang in there, retirees. First of all, I would like to thank all of the people who worked so hard to make this contest, workshop, and event happen. They did a fantastic job. I think they did L. Ron Hubbard proud, I really do. I would also like to thank Adar for his beautiful, beautiful illustration. He captured the essence of my story in one scene. Fantastic. I would like to thank Gene Cavellos of the Odyssey Writing Workshop for teaching me how to write. And I would like to thank the writer Liz Hand for believing in me when I needed it most. I also would like to thank my wife, Eleanor, my first reader and critic, and she gives me advice on how to improve my stories and sometimes advice on how to improve myself. And finally, I would like to thank all of you for being here. You make this event special. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Shalom. First, I want to thank Author Services and Mr. Hubbard for making this contest possible and for being such welcoming hosts this week. I want to thank my parents, Ima, Abba, for teaching me by example to live a meaningful life pursuing art, and my brother, Daron, for inspiring me to keep learning every day. I want to thank the rest of my family, including my grandpa, who is here tonight, and without whom I could not be an artist. I want to thank my best friend Josh for always pushing me to be more. I want to thank Eric for writing a fantastic story. I want to thank all of the teachers I've had up to now. I want to thank the judges, especially Echo and Laz, for making this week so fun and educational. And that's all for now.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Eric Flint and Illustrators of the Future Judge Sergei Podyorkov.
I want to start with a personal note, so just hold off on the teleprompter for a second. Larry Elmore has done 3 covers for me in my career. He did the illustration for the cover of my first novel, Mother of Demons. He did the cover for my most popular novel, 1632, and he also did the cover for the first novel I ever wrote, Forward the Mage. So, Larry, thank you very much. You've been a huge help to my career, and I want to this will probably be the only chance I'll get to thank you publicly, so thank you. Okay, Sergey and I are both winners from these contests. I was the first place winner published in Volume 9 in 1993.
Okay, and I was the Illustrator Grand Prize winner in 1991. I came from Ukraine and I didn't speak very much English. Honestly speaking, I didn't speak English at all. Now you can mention a little difference.
It's always been difficult for new people to break into writing. That's been true forever, and that may be even more true now, as the new writers get lost in a digital blizzard. So to me, the big importance of the Writers of the Future contest is that it's a way for new writers, an important avenue for new writers to get started to be able to crack in, and it's how I did it. It's how I got my career off the ground, and now I'm 6 New York Times best-selling novels later.
So, I've been able to learn from my opportunity to illustrate the writings of L. Ron Hubbard, mentoring from the contest judges, and the support of people, of author services, to build my career and become a successful artist in Europe. And as many years ago, in 1991, I want to repeat, probably I was an author of the most short speech of all the contestants. My speech was, you can count the words, "Thank you, America. Thank you, Ron Hubbard. Can anyone beat my record?"
No. Our next writer-winner is Cole Hare from Oklahoma. He is the author of What Lies Beneath, about a powerful sorcerer who is afraid of the other side, but not what lies beneath.
And the illustrator for What Lies Beneath is a Maxim Polishchuk. Max is from the Ukraine. Yeah? Let's applause for him. He is a 5th winner from the Ukraine. He is currently studying political science in the Loyola University in Chicago.
Please welcome them both.
So my thank you list has grown somewhat in the recent weeks, so I will go through it as quickly as I can to save you all the trouble of having to listen too long. First and foremost, L. Ron Hubbard, everyone at Author Services who has been fantastic to us, has treated us very kindly, all the judges, many of whom I read growing up, who have made this contest possible, and without whom none of us would probably have any idea of what we're doing, especially when it comes to the speech. My family and friends who have supported me throughout a very, very uncertain road. My girlfriend Ariana, without whom I probably wouldn't have continued writing when I very first started. And I can't honestly say what I would be doing, but it probably wouldn't be good. Laura, a very special coworker who found out that I wasn't able to get the time to come here and took 7 days of work extra to let me come here. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful to her. And then a few friends by name who have supported me continually as soon as they found out that I had this very strange and uncertain dream that I needed to follow. And those friends are John, Sarah, and Stone. And all of the people I just listed put me on this stage through their kindness. And so if you can be kind to someone, then be kind to someone, because no one travels the road through life alone, and we all need kindness at some time in our life. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to start by saying thank you to Author Services and Galaxy Press for making it possible for us to pursue our dreams. We wouldn't be here without you guys, and no words can express the depth of gratitude I and my fellow authors and illustrators feel for you. I want to say thank you to my mentors, both in my home city of Lviv, in Ukraine, and in America, for sharing their knowledge with me. Finally, I want to thank my mother for introducing me to the magic of art and for encouraging me to simply create. And just like my mother, I want to encourage all of you to never stop imagining. And I'm saying this not just as an artist who is obsessed with fiction, but also as a student of international politics. Imagination, it transcends all borders, all physical, both physical and abstract. It enables the feeling of empathy and understanding of the experience of people, the experience of who you never shared before. So, and this power of empathy is what ultimately binds us together, brings us together. So never stop imagining, and this will make the world a better place. Thank you.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Nancy Kress and Mr. Sean Cameron Michael.
I really enjoy the chance to further the careers of up-and-coming young writers with this contest. It's a chance to recognize, encourage, and reward the talent that is coming up in the field, even though, of course, these guys are eventually going to be our competition. Our next winner is author Erin Kearns from South Africa via Texas. Her story is A Smokeless and Scorching Fire, about the fire within one and the effort to put it out or to stoke it.
As a fellow South African, I'm incredibly proud of Erin. The illustrator for A Smokeless and Scorching Fire is Keynote. While he may have been born in a refugee camp in Thailand, his family moved to Arizona, from where he comes to us now. Please welcome them both.
Thank you, Nancy and Sean. That was really lovely. Firstly, I'd like to thank L. Ron Hubbard for the creation of this contest, which fosters and creates a connection within this community that is truly special. I would also like to thank the wonderful people at Author Services for executing L. Ron Hubbard's vision with such style. My gratitude and appreciation for the following people cannot be overstated. Keynote for such a lovely illustration that perfectly captures my story in just a single image. I don't know why I had to write it. My parents, Campbell and Tessa Cairns, who came here to support me, as well as my friends, Leah and Daniel Waymel, Kelsey Drake, and Imad Sheikh, all came here to support me. I'm very grateful. And also to all my friends watching at home who supported me through this journey of becoming a writer. It's a journey that needs a lot of support. It's not done alone. And finally, I'd like to thank Dr. Nathan Dodge, the first teacher who ever took my ambition as seriously as I did. And finally, but last but not least, all the judges and other contest winners who made this week unforgettable. Thank you so much. You did more than I would ever imagine this contest could do for me. So thank you.
First, I want to thank Author Services for putting on a great event and inviting us authors and illustrators to participate in an amazing, unique experience this week. It's been busy, tiring, amazing, fun, so many things combined in one. I'd like to thank Larry Elmore for taking the time to talk to me at the smallest fantasy convention ever and just encouraging me and telling me to enter this contest. I wouldn't have known about it without him. My family for always giving me the space to do my art and pursue my passion. My mentor, Kari Christensen, he helped me so much with my art. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now without him. And also my fiance, Kira, who's here tonight. She's been with me through the ups and downs, and she's always supporting me and there when I need someone to have my back. Thank you.
Let me now introduce our guest speaker, Ruben Padilla. After years of teaching magic and enjoying a teaching career, he co-founded a new academic program, Learning is Magic, that celebrates learning and engages students with powerful magic. He's also an actor, a playwright, a writer, and a professional magician as a member of the exclusive Academy of Magical Arts, as well as the International Brotherhood of Magicians. While scientists make science fiction science fact, magicians and dreamers such as Ruben make fantasy real. To tell his story of dreams, magic, and paying it forward, please welcome Mr. Ruben Padilla.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for making me feel so welcome here tonight. I'm happy to be here. It's an absolute pleasure. And tonight I would like to share with you some magic. Not in the form of tricks and illusions like the ones we've seen so expertly performed here tonight by our two guest magicians, but rather magic with words and the illustrations that hopefully those words cause you to create in your own minds. Indeed, the entire purpose of tonight is to celebrate in all its fantastical forms the creation of words and illustrations. So what better way to deliver a keynote that addresses these artistic endeavors than with a story? So while I know that our group of winners here before me and you and the audience are way above your childhood, I'd like to tell you a story affirming the simple premise from L. Ron Hubbard that you can blow away and erase anger, hate, discomfort, or anything else with an aesthetic. I will tell you that his name is Jackie Mendez, but you won't find him under that name if you try to look. He was a fourth grader, just back from a 2-week holiday break. There's something special about fourth graders. I actually prefer teaching fourth graders because when you're in the fourth grade, you are still able to look silly. You're not afraid to extend yourself, to try new things. It's second nature to you. You enjoy it. Being silly or different or unique is fun, and anything is possible. In the fifth grade, I noticed that kids start to lose that. Somewhere in that magical summer between fourth and fifth grade, we become self-conscious. We try to blend in. We don't want to stand out. If we could, we'd like to be invisible. We dress in a way so as not to call too much attention to ourselves. We thrust our hands inside our pockets, shield our heads with a hoodie. Our voices get softer, and we become less than what we could be, what we should be, at least on the outside. On the inside, I like to think that that spark of imagination and yearning for self-expression and fun is still there. So the program that I created with my partner, Tonio Melendez, called Learning is Magic, thrived on intercepting children between fourth and fifth grade and encouraging them, validating them to fully be themselves with gusto and passion. Before the holiday break, Jackie Mendez was one of those kids. But when he came back, something had changed drastically. He was quiet, sullen, withdrawn, angry, and I soon came to find out why. Over the Christmas break, his older brother had been tragically killed. It was his only sibling and somebody he desperately looked up to. Our project was to write a scene from your life, your own experiences, your own ideas, and at the end of our residency, we'd have a show in front of the entire school. We'd have professional actors come in and act out those true life vignettes that the students so painstakingly recorded. Now, there was certainly an opportunity here to transform an act of tragedy into a beautiful act of creation. I asked Jackie if he wanted to consider writing a scene about his brother, making it perfectly clear that, of course, he didn't have to. And then he bitterly asked me the question, why should I? Why indeed? And luckily, I had an answer for him. I said, because something magical happens to you when you write something down, particularly an experience that is painful. He looked at me, wanting me to continue. Whatever experience you write down on that piece of paper becomes something that you own instead of it owning you. It's yours and yours alone. And because you created it, you can change it. I can change it, he asked. Absolutely. You can do anything you want with it. Nobody has to even read it if you don't want them to. You can rip it up and throw it away. I can throw it away, he asked. Absolutely. Writing gives you the power to do anything. And he thought about it for a while and finally agreed to write about his brother. But he didn't want to write about his death. That was too painful, understandably. He instead chose to write the memory of the last time that he was with his brother. As it happened, they were in the front yard throwing a football back and forth. No conflict, no anger, not even a goal or an obstacle. Just two brothers tossing a ball, talking about video games. It was simple. It was honest. It was beautiful. Can you see it? On the day of the final performance in front of the school, we brought in a professional actor to play Jackie's brother, and Jackie was to play himself. The auditorium was filled with students and faculty. Jackie's family was there. His scene was scheduled last because, really, how could you follow it? And during the intermission, before Jackie's scene, backstage, he broke down and began sobbing. The other students surrounded him and embraced him in a group hug, many of them crying as well. He continued to cry, and it was very clear that he couldn't go on, and we weren't about to make him. I later found out that this display of emotion was the first time that Jackie had been able to cry for his brother. Just before we went back on stage to announce this change in the program, one of Jackie's classmates said, "I can play Jackie." He had helped Jackie rehearse in the days leading up to the event, and he knew the lines. We asked Jackie if it was okay if somebody else played his part, and he said yes. So he went out into the audience and sat with his family and got to watch his words, his memory, his creation come to life on stage. And for 5 glorious minutes, his older brother was alive again. And to me, that's magic. And whenever I replay this memory in my mind, I don't just think about Jackie. I think about some other kid. Sometimes it's a boy, sometimes it's a girl. The face changes, but it's always a fellow student, a child, who is also sitting in the audience. And they, too, have something to say. And they don't even know how to begin. But they want desperately to take that step along that magic path, to share their voice, to be heard, and to gift us with their talent. Every single one of our honorees here this evening has, in their own way, walked a similar path. They've taken something that was uniquely their own, something that belonged to them. Perhaps it was something that to others seemed insignificant or lacking. But they breathed life into that spark. And they fanned the flames of creation, and they nurtured that impulse, and they used the tools of their craft, and the lessons of their lives, and the fever of their desire, and the instincts of their vision, and the necessity of their voice, and ultimately they created something that will outlive us all. What could be more magical than that? Whether it's fact, fiction, science, fantasy, I dare say that any act of creation is the result of tossing a few footballs back and forth inside our minds, and a lot of fumbles. In our program, Learning is Magic, we teach students our acronym for MAGIC, because it belongs to anybody who wishes to create and share their artistry with others, and serves, at least for me, as a kind of recipe for living truthfully and achieving success in all of our endeavors, and certainly in our artistic expressions. MAGIC, M-A-G-I-C. Make a plan. Act without fear. Grow as a person. Imagine without limits, and commit to excellence. That's the magic path, and we are all magic. Thank you, and good night.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Nina Kariki Hoffman and Illustrators of the Future Judge Val Lakey Lindon.
One of the great gifts I got from winning the contest was a strong external validation that I was doing good work. That kept me going when successes didn't immediately follow. That conviction from an outside source that I was on the right path.
One thing I love about the contest is it has international appeal. Writers and illustrators from all over the world can enter their work.
And since it is judged anonymously, absolutely anyone from any ethnicity, gender, or faith can win.
The winners in this volume have proven their work alone to be the best of the year.
And as we know how difficult it is to break into these fields, we are proud to help them rise and shine a spotlight on them. Our next writer winner is Diana Hart from Kent, Washington. Diana's story is in our anthology is Miss Smokey, about a scientist whose ability to shift into a bear offers some strange challenges.
The illustrator for Miss Smokey is Anthony Moravian from New York. Anthony was a finalist chosen to be included in last year's anthology. He continues to improve his art, and he won this year's competition in the first quarter.
Please welcome them both.
Good evening. Writers, illustrators, and creators of every kind all have a dream, a vision we wish to show to the world. But that vision can be very difficult to give to the world. And for that, I would like to thank L. Ron Hubbard, Author Services, and the judges for bringing a select few this evening, but so many over the years and in the future to come, bringing new visions and dreams to the world. Speaking of new visions and dreams, I would love to thank Anthony for his beautiful work illustrating Miss Smokey. It is He has done a fabulous job bringing life to words that I didn't think could be made so vibrant. There's a beautiful future here, and I look forward to seeing it. I would also like to thank Eric Simonson and my husband Kevin for enduring all the not-so-pretty versions of my dreams. I would like to thank Dr. Larry Jones and the Wayfarer Writing Group for helping me improve my skill to the point that I can bring my dreams to the world. And most of all, I would like to thank my mother, Dr. Tommy Trikosko. You were there when I learned to walk. You taught me how to run. Now watch me fly.
Hello, everyone. Good evening as well. I'm honored to be here again. I have to say, I would like to start with a quick thanks. I'd like to thank Author Services for hosting such a fantastic event for illustrators and writers. It's truly been a great opportunity. I would also like to thank the writers again for writing such fantastic stories, and definitely like to thank Diana as well for writing such an incredible story for me to illustrate. And so I would like to also thank Larry. You've been an inspiration for pretty much my entire life, and you're definitely one of my main influences for doing fantasy art and oil painting as well. So, yeah, thank you for your work and contributions. I would also like to thank the Lazarus and Echo for hosting such an amazing seminar. Both times I've been here, you guys have taught me so much, and your critiques and all the business information you guys imparted has just been fantastic. I'm honored to have been in your workshops. Also, I would like to thank my brother, Justin. Without him, I wouldn't be into fantasy art and illustration, period. He introduced me to fantasy stories and gaming when I was a kid, and since then, it's pretty much captured all of my interest. And yeah, I would like to say thanks about that. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of you for being here and supporting all of us artists and writers, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Larry Niven and Illustrators of the Future Judge Lazarus Chernick.
Hello. As an art director and contest judge, I'm happy to be a part of the opportunities that this competition offers, mentoring the winners and sharing hard-won experience to help these artists get on a solid track with their careers.
I only wish this opportunity was around when I got started. And with that, I'd like to introduce our next writer winner. Eneasz Brodsky is from Denver, Colorado. Eneasz is the author of Flee, My Pretty One, which Publishers Weekly says paints a dark, stark vision of resistance and transformation, end quote.
The illustrator for Flee, My Pretty One is Alana Fletcher. Alana is attending Ferris State University for game design and digital animation in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please welcome them both.
Okay, thank you, first of all, to all my friends and loved ones who have had to deal with many absences of me from their lives due to the time needed for the writing. Thank you especially so much to all my fellow winners here tonight. You guys are what really made this week what it is. You are the greatest gift of this, and you're the inspiration and the partners in crime that are going to bring us all into the future. Thank you to all the judges and to Author Services, all the wonderful people who work here for making this week what it is and making it possible. Thank you especially to Tim and Dave for being our guides through these weeks and having the patience and wisdom to try to teach us. Lastly, I'd like to thank all my friends in the Northern Colorado Writers Workshop. You made me drastically better with your help, and I would not be here without you. With extra thanks to the late Ed Bryant, both for founding the workshop and for teaching me how a truly gentle and gracious person lives. Thank you, everybody.
I wanted to say thank you also to Author Services for the wonderful opportunity. It's been very uplifting to work with other artists in the speciality that I am in, and see their great work start to grow around me, especially in the workshops. I'm thankful to my friend back in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who suggested the contest to me, as well as the support from my friends in my schooling as well. And thanks again.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Mike Resnick and Ms. Jane Pettyjohn.
Stop the crawl for just a minute. Why should Eric be the only one to ad-lib? It's a given in this and every other field that when you've had a successful career, you pay back. But in this field, it's almost impossible because by the time you've been a remarkable success, everybody who helped you is either rich or dead or both. So you pay forward. L. Ron Hubbard knew that, and he paid forward with the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest. And the many judges and workshoppers who run and work the contest do much the same thing. And it's reached down into the actual field itself. My own example is that I have been editing a science fiction magazine for the past 6 years. I don't know who I buy from until after the contracts go out and I hear from them, but it turns out that more than half the stories I've bought have been from Writers of the Future graduates. Okay, we can go back to the crawl. I have been a full-time writer and editor for more than half a century, and based on my experience, more than half the good news stories each year are coming out of Writers of the Future. And yes, I'm backing it up with paychecks. And again, based on my experience, well over half of the good new writers, year in and year out, come through Writers of the Future. Author Janie Bell won this competition with a story entitled The Face in the Box, melding life and electronics. Janie is also a playwright from Seattle.
The illustrator for The Face in the Box is Bruce Bernise from Seattle. Bruce is a world traveler and illustrator of brilliant landscapes, both real or imagined. Please welcome them both. When I was 17, I chose to pursue an education in writing, and I was told that I would end up a single mom with 2 illegitimate children working at McDonald's. Never let anyone discourage you from your dreams. First off, I'd like to thank my family. Hi, Mom! I'd like to thank my fiance, Matt, for being so supportive of me. I'd like to thank all my professors at the California State Summer School of the Arts, and my professors at Columbia College Chicago, particularly Richard Schwedick, who helped me through every step of this story and introduced me to this contest. And I would also like to thank my fellow winners for being so supportive of me, even though I had a panic attack on the first day, and my professors and judges as well. And of course, Author Services for being so kind to me, and L. Ron Hubbard for creating this magnificent event and opportunity in the first place. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, I have many thanks to give today.
chiefly my friends, family, my mentors, my fellow students along the way who've helped to let me build myself as an artist. Most importantly, I want to thank my wife. This is for you. This is for our unborn child who's coming soon. You've put up with many late nights where I'm working away at my computer and not coming to bed when I should. Lastly, thank you to all of you for coming here, and thanks to Author Services for this wonderful event that they provide for us. Thank you.
This past year, we were saddened to lose two legends from our writer-judge panel. So, let's take a moment to remember and say farewell to Jodi Kondo and Jerry Purnell.
Sings my heart for the pain in their lives, for the love in their souls. They gave the world light. Child of the years, they could nurse any fears, hand weave days into years with only kindness. Stories of gold, they gave laughter to me. They made freedom their key. No doors unopened. Here's my song.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Brandon Sanderson and Illustrators of the Future Judge Larry Elmore.
When I was an aspiring author trying to break into the business, I always wondered what it would be like to stand up here on this stage. I never managed to win the contest myself, though I got an honorable mention one year. I figured if I became a judge, they'd have to let me up here. In all seriousness, I'm extremely proud to be part of the contest. I still remember that letter I got, telling me, though, that I hadn't won, my story had been good enough to get the attention of the judges. It was a vital boost to my confidence during a time in my writing career where I was seriously doubting whether I was any good at this craft.
The opportunities that come, that these contestants give to the people anywhere in the world are amazing. I don't know any of the contestants' names or where they're from when I judge. This is a true competition based on the quality of the art alone that makes me proud to be part of all this.
Our next writer winner is Amy Henry Gillette. Amy is a graduate from Brigham Young University, where I teach. Her contribution to our anthology is a story called All Light and Darkness, wherein she tries to contribute a little light to a world that sometimes seems dark.
The illustrator of All Light and Darkness is Duncan Halleck. Duncan comes to us from Brussels, Belgium. I think he's our first winner from there.
Please welcome them both.
To set it down real careful. Okay, so this has been an incredible event, all the way from arrival to this gala and one more day tomorrow. And it has been a lifetime opportunity and experience. Thank you, Author Services, for your support, encouragement, and care. Thank you, authors, who have offered your wisdom and friendship. You are far more friendly than I ever imagined. Thank you to the critters.org community for their constructive criticism and recommendations. There is no way All Light and Darkness would have won without you. Thank you to my parents for sharing their love of words and reading, and for setting examples of hard work and faith throughout my life. Because if there are two things that writing demands, it's hard work and faith. Thank you to my husband for encouraging me to write again, brainstorming new worlds with me, and especially for caring for our 3 young children, 2 of them babies, while I'm here living this dream come true. There are many others, yes. There are many others, friends and families, and even some complete strangers who I wouldn't be here without. Thank you.
First off, I'd like to give a massive, massive thank you to everybody at Author Services for the enormous amount of hard work they've put into making us feel warm and welcome here in LA. So thank you to all of you. Yeah, really. I told Joni Labaki, the contest coordinator, on the way over here, I thought that getting 24 artists from the 4 corners of the globe together in one place for an entire week must be a bit like herding cats. She has a tough job, so I wanted to thank her personally for her good humor and warmth, and especially for her patience in working to make this week a reality, so thanks to her, yeah. I feel incredibly honored to be standing here receiving this award, but in truth, for me, the real honor is the ability to get up every day and continue to do what I love, and I absolutely would not be able to do that were it not for the constant support of my wife. She's not here tonight, but even so, I'd like to thank her from the bottom of my heart for always being there for me and always encouraging me to be the best version of myself. I really would not be standing here today were it not for her kindness and for her love. So a big thanks to her. And finally, a big thank you to everybody here tonight for braving the LA traffic, coming out and supporting us. It really means a lot. So thank you. Thanks.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Gregory Benford and Ms. Lee Purcell.
If you'll hold the scroll a moment, it seems to be getting fashionable. I'm the longest serving judge. I was here from the beginning. It's particularly gratifying to serve with judges whom I handed awards to back when I was young, or pretending to be young. And I've read, I think, thousands of stories for this contest, yet I can still walk and talk, which shows it can be done. So thank you all. The thing that astonishes me most about this whole long sequence of 34 years is that it keeps getting better. And in part, it is due to you who turn out for this event every year and give them all so much support, these fantastic people who put the entire thing together and always make it work despite, it's worse than herding cats, let's put it that way. Our next winner is Jeremy de Grotenhuis from Eastern Washington. His entry in our anthology is The Minarets of Anzabat, Arabic, a story of magic, discovery, love, and betrayal.
The illustrator for The Minarets of Anzabat is Brenda Rodriguez. Brenda is newly graduated from Indiana University at Indianapolis. Please welcome them both.
You can't tell because the people that get to do our makeup are so good at it, but I actually have a head injury. On Thursday, I was walking to the library as part of our 24-hour story contest, and I was talking to Vita, and I was so engrossed in our conversation that a lamppost was able to sneak up on me. So I'm still not entirely sure that I didn't sort of collapse, and now I'm just lying on the ground in the middle of the street in LA, and this is all just a very pleasant hallucination. First of all, I'd like to thank the other winners. I couldn't possibly have imagined a finer group of people to share this week with. I'd like to thank the community that surrounds this contest. I sort of first got very involved with it through the Writers of the Future forums, and let me tell you, if you want to enter this contest and win it, the smartest thing you can do is get on those forums and talk to those people. They're super nice, incredibly supportive, and they know how it works, and they can help you. So definitely do that. I also want to thank everyone who paid it forward to make this possible. I want to thank our judges, especially Dave and Tim, who shepherded 12 squirrely young writers through a very intense few days of workshop. I want to thank Mr. Hubbard for having the foresight to endow this contest and sort of pay it forward to such an extent that we're still doing this 34 years later, which is kind of incredible. I also want to thank Joni Labaki and everybody at ASI for making this possible. They have a very hard job, and they make it work, and none of us would be here without them. I want to thank my illustrator, Brenda, for her amazing illustration. I told her immediately after I saw it that this is not how I imagined the scarves in the story looking. This is about 1,000 times cooler than I imagined them looking. So this is what they look like now. I don't care. I want to thank everybody who encouraged me along the way to keep doing this. I want to thank the members of the Taipei Writers Group, my writing group in Spokane. I want to thank the members of the Despot Fantastica book club in Spokane, which they're some of the most supportive people I've ever met. I want to thank the staff at Auntie's Bookstore. Great people. You all should go buy books from them if you can. And I want to thank my best friend Tom, who knew that I was a writer well before I was willing to admit it to myself. I want to thank a stranger who walked up to me after my first ever reading when I was 14 years old, when I had won a local writing contest, and who told me, "You have a talent, never stop writing." I want to thank my mom and dad who are here tonight. My mom for sort of raising me with a love of books and for being willing to read everything I've written since I can remember. I want to thank my dad for introducing me to science fiction and letting me raid his office library for Heinlein and Tolkien and all those good old dudes. And I want to thank my wife, Hannah, who's also here tonight, who is incredibly patient with me when I'm pacing around the house complaining about a story that doesn't work and trying to figure out how to fix it, and who does the cutest little doodles and illustrations of my stories when I'm stuck working on them and I want to give up, and she helps me keep going. Thank you all. I wouldn't be here without you.
I'd like to thank my family, first and foremost, my friends, everyone who supported me throughout my life and told me to keep going and still supports me to this day. Anytime I want to quit, they keep me going, and I really appreciate that. I'd like to thank everyone who made this event possible, the judges. Their insight has been very helpful, very insightful, and I will value that for the rest of my life. And thank you all for showing up to this awesome event.
Please welcome Writers of the Future Judge Robert J. Sawyer and Illustrators of the Future Judge Eko Chernik.
As Mike Resnick observed, there's this tradition of paying it forward in our industry. And Robert A. Heinlein was the guy who articulated it very directly. He said to young writers who he was helping, who had asked him, "How can I pay you back?" Well, he said, "You can't. There's not a single thing you can do for me. But when the next guy comes up behind you, you can give him or her a hand." And that's the ethos that has permeated the science fiction and fantasy community for decades, including, of course, through these contests. I certainly benefited from it. Back when I was starting out, there were writers in Toronto who bent over backwards to read my manuscripts, to give me encouraging words, who were already further along than I was. And without their mentorship, without their helping hands, I wouldn't be here today. And again, it's just that Heinleinian notion that the only way I can settle the karmic balance is by paying it forward. And it is by being a part of L. Ron Hubbard's Writers of the Future contest as a judge and doing mentoring here, which makes me feel that the balance sheet gets evened out a little bit more each time I come here. Our next winner is from my hometown of Ottawa, Canada. Yay! NRM Rorschach is the author of A Bitter Thing, which takes its title from Shakespeare. Oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. And in this story, the man is an alien.
The illustrator of A Bitter Thing is Jasmine Richardson. Jasmine attends the Ringling College of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida.
Please welcome them both.
Thank you. I grew up in a home filled with two things, love and books. So many books and magazines. So thank you to my parents, not only for their love and support, but also for nurturing my lifelong love of reading, writing, and speculative fiction. My parents also nurtured my second love, science, and supported my third love, philosophy. I've long viewed science fiction as a kind of cousin of philosophy, both as questions about why we are the way we are and what if we weren't. So thank you to speculative fiction, the whole field, everyone, for making a home for three of my favorite things in the world, science and philosophy and stories. And thank you, writers and illustrators of the future, for showing me that I too can have a place in this field as a creator. Nothing could have meant more to me. Thank you to the judges for their time and their wisdom. Thank you to Author Services for their astounding support. And thank you, of course, to L. Ron Hubbard for creating and endowing this award. Thank you also to my husband, Eli, for his unflagging support and encouragement. Thank you sincerely to the many editors whose thoughtful rejections made my stories so much better. And last but not least, thank you to my son for teaching me to seize the moment to write and for taking the naps that made writing this story possible. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone, but specifically I want to thank Ringling College, all my professors and my coworkers who made it possible for me to be here. I also want to thank my mom, of course, and my 4 younger siblings who have been pushing me as much as I have been pushing them to succeed. And I want to thank everyone here at Author Services for the workshop that's been going on, because I've been learning a lot, and there's nothing more important than learning as much as you can and to take all the opportunities that are possible to you. And that's my big advice to all that are interested in this contest. Keep going. Thank you.
Please welcome back Joe Myers and Spidey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joel Myers. This is Spidey. We are very excited to be here tonight. In fact, we were so inspired by the magic of the evening that we decided that we wanted to write a little story of our own.
The problem is we don't know anything about writing stories. But luckily for us, we're in a room full of the brightest writers of the future, and we thought you guys could help us with a couple of elements of our little flash story.
Spoiler alert, we already predicted how we think that this is going to go. And I know that sounds weird, but the truth is even though you guys are about to help us randomly piece together this story, we think that we already know what that story is. Now, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
We're going to pick a few of you randomly to help us out with this little experiment. We've got a little ball over here. We're going to throw this into the audience. Whoever catches it is going to be asked to stand up, but stay where you are. You don't have to come on stage. Now, a little known fact about flying objects, I don't know if you guys know this, but if something's flying towards your head and you avert eye contact, it's still going to smack you in the head, so you're going to want to catch that, okay?
All right, I'm going to take the ball. I'm going to throw it out among you guys. If it comes close to you, catch it. If it comes next to you, just pick it up, stand up right where you're at. I'm going to turn around. We're both going to turn around so even we can't see where this thing is going. Don't everybody leave. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes, if it comes close to you, catch it, stand up right where you're at. Oh, nice. Oh, that was very close. It's okay. You look good while you were reaching for it. That was good. Yeah, stand up right where you're at, my friend. No, you're perfect, man. Stand right up. If you don't mind, just stand. You don't have to come up. Just stand up right where you're at. What is your name? Christopher. Christopher, perfect. Christopher, here's the deal. Like any good story, we need a location for our story. Okay, we think it would be cool if that location was like a distant planet. We want you to come up with a name for that planet, okay? It could be any name in the whole world. It could be somebody that you're close to, the name is somebody you're close to, like the most clever name that pops into your head. Christopher, what is the name of our planet? Chow?
Chow? Like C-H-O-W. S-H-O-W.
It's C-H-A-U.
Chow, like, okay, so
it's C-H-A-U.
It's funny because I had to spell it earlier. C-H, hold on.
So our location tonight, Christopher, is Planet Chow.
Planet Chow.
Christopher, I want you to take that ball, toss it to somebody else next to you, wherever you want. You can maybe toss it a little bit further towards the back, something like that. Yeah, whoever catches it, we'll use them next. So go ahead and toss it to somebody else, and then you have a seat.
Backwards, left, right, whatever.
Nicely done. Look at you.
Whoever got it, stand up. Thank you so much, Christopher. Stand up if you caught it. Girl, yeah, pick it up. Yeah, wonderful. What is your name? Max? Max, you are going to pick the villain in this story. Now, you can inspire yourself from ancient mythology, folk tale, fairy tale, or you can make something up. It could be something like a vampire or something crazy like an army of garden gnomes. Totally up to you. Who's the villain? Voldemort?
Voldemort. He who must not be named, you dangerous fella.
Voldemort.
That is,
V-O-L,
I like
yes,
your style.
He who shall not be named. V-O-L-D-E-R-M-O-R-T, Lord Voldemort. There's no R after the E, it's Voldemort.
There's no R after the E. Nerd alert.
Yeah. He who shall not be spelled. V-O-L-D-E-M-O-R-T, thank you. You can go ahead and throw the ball anywhere else, left, right. There we go.
But wow, she didn't even know it was coming. She was like, what was that? Okay. Miss, could you stand up? You don't need to come up. What is your name? I'm going to come down really close so I can see you. What is your name? Oh, no, you're good. Oh, you got caught. What's your name? What is it? Maurice, beautiful. You're like a celebrity waiting to happen. That is nice. I love it. Maurice, we're going to try something a little bit different. This time I want you to imagine that you're standing in a kitchen. You look down at the kitchen counter, you see an object. There's an object sitting on that kitchen counter. Now, it's not an object that necessarily only belongs in a kitchen, but it is an object that fits in your hand. So, Maurice, for the first time, what is the object that you see on the kitchen counter? What is the object? A crystal ball.
Crystal ball.
Crystal ball. Perfect.
I know how to spell that one.
Crystal ball. That's good stuff.
Yay. Wonderful. Now, crystal ball, that's the weapon. You take, Joe, hold on to that, please. Maryse, we're going to do this one last time, but we're going to add another layer of deception. I want you to throw that forward. I'm sorry. I want you to throw that forward, Maryse, until it reaches somebody in the front row. Just pass it forward, left, right, whatever. Go ahead, or you could just chuck it. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, do it. Throw it.
Look at the arm too. She's ready.
Hot potato. That is the crystal ball, guys.
Right back to Christopher. We're just playing pass.
Christopher, keep moving it forward. Left, right, whatever. Keep moving it forward. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's good.
That little sideways. Sir, stand up for me. What is your name? John. Thank you for being here, John. John, you're going to pick the most important element of our little flash story. You're going to pick the name of the hero, but we're going to add a layer of impossibility to this because instead of making it up, you're going to make a choice. I've got a little notebook, and on this notebook, bring the curtains with me. Yeah, thanks. In this notebook, I've written down very common first names, things like Matthew and Daniel. I think there's a Matthew in the room. Anthony, Nicholas, as you could see there, Ryan, John, there are 30 to 40 different first names here. I'm going to come over to you, and with one thumb, I want you to open this up wherever you like. Randomness will dictate the name of our hero. Go ahead, just bring one thumb over and open it up wherever you like. And the name you've opened up at is James. Now, that's a choice you didn't even make. It was completely random. The name of our hero will be James.
All right, so we've got our story here. So here's what we got. Let's see what we got here. We have our story taking place on planet Chow, Christopher. We have our villain, he who must not be named. I'm not going to say it. Our weapon is a crystal ball. And James is our hero. That's what we've got. Spidey, I think it's time that we tell everybody about the box. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but throughout the whole show, there's been a box sitting here on the stairs, right here. It's been there since the very beginning of the show. For those of you who did notice it, you're probably wondering what's inside. We're about to tell you exactly what is inside the box, but before we do, I want to point out that there's a few other people in this room who know exactly what is inside the box besides just Spidey and I. In fact, if you are one of those people, could you stand up right now wherever the people are who also know? Yeah, we've got Nancy here, we've got Catherine, and then where's Larry? Larry's back there. Hi, Larry. Yeah. Okay, so you guys were with us during the preparation of the box. You saw exactly what happened. We're about to tell everybody what happened. But
Listen up, everyone.
But before we do, we need you to confirm that everything that we're about to say is true and nothing we're about to say is a lie, okay?
So listen up, everyone. Nancy, Catherine, and Larry were with us backstage. I showed you an envelope, and in that envelope was a piece of paper. You saw that, correct? All three of you signed the envelope in a very unique way so that we can never duplicate it and we can never have an envelope like that one. You saw me seal the envelope, and you verified, very close, Catherine, you had it in your hands, that there's no other way to access that envelope. No cuts, windows, tears, nothing. It was sealed inside with your signatures on it.
Then we took the envelope, and what did we do? We put it in the box right in front of you. You saw it go in the box. We didn't put it next to the box, behind the box, on top of it. We put it inside. You saw it go in there. Once we placed it inside there, we closed the lid. We all walked together and set that box down there. Then, Nancy, you and Catherine specifically checked the sides, the bottom, the top. You made sure there were no trap doors, no sneaky way of getting anything in and out of that box, right? Perfect.
Finally, we asked you to keep your eyes on that box from that moment until this moment right now to make sure that nobody touches it, nobody goes near it, nobody alters the content of that box. Has anyone gone near the box, Catherine? No one has.
Nope.
It's been sitting there the entire time, and the envelope that you signed has been in front of this audience since the beginning of the show.
I think, Nancy, would you mind joining us on stage? Catherine, Larry, you can have a seat. Everybody give them a big hand.
Larry,
come on up,
Catherine.
Nancy. Larry, thank you very much. You can have a seat. Here. Let's stand
Right there.
right
Yeah,
here.
let me get her a mic.
All right, we got a mic over here.
That's for you, Nancy.
Perfect, Nancy. That is for you.
I'm going to grab that envelope that's been sitting inside here the entire time. Nancy, I want you to verify that your signatures are all there.
They're all there.
You see that? Catherine, is your signature there? Larry, is your signature there? Nancy, I want you to verify that envelope is still 100% sealed.
100%, let's see.
Yes. No cuts,
Yeah,
no
we're
openings,
good.
no windows or slits.
No.
I'm going to tear that open at my fingertips, and I want you to see that inside there is that very same piece of paper that was there in the beginning. Nancy, I want you to take that out for the first time.
So, Nancy, you are going to unfold that. I want you to read exactly as what that says, exactly as it's written.
Okay.
And remember, this has been sitting here in front of you since the beginning, since we showed it to you. Go ahead and read it right now, Nancy, for us.
Our story takes place on planet Chow. Seriously. Where a mighty hero defeats a Voldemort. There's no R in that one either, except with the use of a crystal ball, I'm not kidding. Oh, and the hero's name is James!
Everybody give Nancy a big round of applause. Come on!
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Keep it going for Nancy.
Give it up for Nancy. Copyright, everybody. I'll take that. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I'm Joel Myers. This is Spidey. You guys are awesome. Good night.
Now that was amazing. Tonight's event is all about magic and making your dreams come true. So now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, who is going to win?
This contest exists to help create enthusiasm among writers and build momentum for their careers.
The Golden Pin Award will help catapult one of these amazing new writers into a professional career.
The Golden Brush Award was created to honor one winner from this amazing group of artists.
So I wish you all the luck, and I'll be waiting and watching.
The Writers of the Future winner of the Golden Pen Award and grand prize check for $5,000.
Our winner this year, I am delighted to say, is Yana Kumarik from Czechoslovakia.
And this is the check.
William J. Katz.
Eric Valdez Elanis.
I've never passed out, but there is a first time for everything.
I have been like an ill-sitting hen all night waiting to hear about this.
I want to thank the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future contest from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you everyone.
Wow.
I haven't won.
I am happy.
This is the best day in my life, you know.
I would certainly like to thank L. Ron Hubbard for starting the whole shebang off. There's no contest like this in the world.
I wouldn't have entered if it wasn't for the fact that the competition's free. It's open to anyone, anywhere in the world.
I also wish to thank especially L. Ron Hubbard for the love that he has for the arts.
I hope to be giving back the way that the judges have taught us, the way that L. Ron Hubbard set up this contest originally.
You have to find that inner fire. And that's what this contest has helped me find.
And I think that that's the most important thing, that no matter how many times you get rejected, that you keep coming back.
This is just the beginning.
This contest has like culminated that into this pinnacle of awesome.
Here's to the future.
To present the Illustrators of the Future Golden Brush Award, please welcome Illustrators of the Future Judge Echo Chernik and Marisol Nichols.
Well, this is exciting. As the coordinating judge, it's my privilege to view all of the entries as they come in. The entries are completely anonymous. I work hard to judge based on execution and visual communication skills and to consider all styles and media equally. Since this is a science fiction and fantasy competition, I look for illustrations that demonstrate dynamic and engaging storytelling.
The entire past week was dedicated to the winners. They learned from the judges and the words of L. Ron Hubbard on art. It takes an average of 10 years to become an established working illustrator. Hopefully, with the mentoring, promotion, and networking that is being provided here, these fine winners will get up and running and achieve success more quickly.
The grand prize is judged based on the art commissioned by the winners for the Writers of the Future Anthology.
And the Illustrators of the Future Golden Brush Award, with its beautiful trophy and the grand prize check of $5,000, goes to the illustrator of
Keynote
Tech for their smokeless and scorching fire.
I'm in shock right now, sorry. Okay. Thank you again for author services. This week has been more than I ever thought it would be. Like I said before, when I talked to Larry, I never imagined I would get in, like I would be accepted to the quarterly prize, and there's no way I imagined that I would be standing here with this. When I saw everybody else's illustrations in the room for the first time, my heart sank because I felt like, oh my, I'm not with these people. These people are amazing. And that's the thing about being an artist is I don't think you're ever going to feel like you're good. You're going to always you're always going to see other people that you want to, who has levels that you want to reach. And there's been times I wanted to give up, and my fiance Kira's talked me off the ledge. She's been amazing, and I want to thank Erin for writing an amazing story. It truly inspired me. The illustration came easy because the words were perfect. Yeah, thank you for the artists, the other artists that were here. Getting to know you and share this time, this experience, I'm never going to forget it. I'm going to cherish it forever. Thank you, everyone.
To present the Writers of the Future Golden Pen Award, please welcome Writers of the Future Coordinating Judge David Farland and Brandon Sanderson.
Okay, now comes the culmination of our event tonight. Our first place winners have come a long way, beating thousands of writers to take top places in the contest. As a judge, it is often difficult to choose just who will win. We look at such things as the story's form, its originality, and the maturity of the author. When comparing top stories, it is like comparing apples to kumquats, where the finest stories sometimes seem more different from each other than better than each other. So the judges are tasked with hard decisions. The fact that so many of our writers go on to enviable careers bears witness of these people, that these people are all authors of great talent. These writers that we've seen here tonight all have the ability, the promise of becoming great storytellers. And so I'd like to challenge those who don't win the Gold Award to redouble your efforts, to raise your own monuments above the literary landscape. And now for the grand prize.
They gave this to me before the contest started. It's been sitting in my pocket, burning a hole in there. And the winner is Darcy Stone for Mara's Shadow.
I just want to start by saying that my husband has won a Nebula Award, and I am fairly confident that this is a much bigger trophy. You know, when I first arrived in LA at the beginning of this week, I really hoped that I might get this award. And then I made a mistake. I got to know my competition, and the realization that only one of us gets to actually take this home in our suitcase was kind of bittersweet because all of our stories were so beautiful in their own ways and so different. And so I really do want to take a moment to sincerely thank all of the other writers and illustrators for putting a piece of yourself into this anthology. I think that we have produced something beautiful, and I really think and I hope that all of us will one day see our names or our art on the cover of a best-selling novel. I do want to thank my husband for badgering me repeatedly to submit my story. If I remember correctly, he was the one that actually uploaded the file and hit send on the last day of the quarter. And if not for that, I think I would be working on another rewrite of it because I would have never thought it was quite ready. Obviously, I want to thank all the judges for liking my story as much as I did. And I want to thank you just for all of the time that you put in to helping your future competition catch up with you. And then finally, I do want to say, when I was in high school, I got a scholarship to study overseas and attend something called the United World College of Southeast Asia. And for me, it was a life-changing opportunity, and I think it has enriched not just my life, but I hope that it will enrich what I write. And so I do want to thank that organization for that wonderful opportunity they gave me. And I thank you all, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
This concludes the 2018 L. Ron Hubbard Achievement Awards and another year of discovering exceptional new talent. As for a final word to creative minds everywhere, remember that there is an artist in every one of us, and the playing field is wide open for anybody to have success. As the founder of the contest said, one's ability to imagine is directly proportional to one's ability to be successful. Please join us now in the grand ballroom for a reception and desserts to honor tonight's winners and our venerable judges. Most importantly, do not miss out on your chance to ask our winners for their very first autographs as published professionals. From all of us at Author Services and Galaxy Press, congratulations to all the winners, and thank you all for being with us tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening.